Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a young soldier sitting alone under a dim lantern, thousands of miles away from home. The night is cold, the ground is hard, and the world around him is breaking apart. But in his hands is a single piece of paper, a letter, a lifeline, the only connection he has to the world he once knew, the world he hopes to return to someday. During World War II, millions of letters traveled between soldiers and their families. Some letters were filled with hope, some with fear, some with secrets they could never say out loud. And today, you're going to step into that world. You're going to hear the voices of men and women who lived through the greatest conflict in history and wrote home from the front lines. These are not just letters. They are windows into the hearts of a generation. For most soldiers, the first letter they ever wrote was full of excitement and fear they tried hard to hide. Many letters began like this: "Dear Mom, I'm safe. Don't worry." Of course, their mothers still worried. A soldier named Robert Hayes, 20 years old, wrote these words aboard a troop ship crossing the Atlantic. "The ocean is rough, but my spirits are high. I don't know what awaits us, but everyone says we'll be fine. Tell Dad I'm doing my best to make him proud." He didn't talk about the seasickness, or the tension on the ship, or the silence that fell when submarines were spotted nearby. Soldiers always tried to protect the people they loved, even from the truth. War was chaos, but letters brought tiny moments of peace. Soldiers wrote about simple things: how they missed their dog, how they missed the smell of home, how they missed warm meals, how they missed the sound of rain on their roof, how they missed their mother's cooking or their father's jokes. One soldier wrote, "I haven't heard a radio in weeks. Haven't tasted coffee that didn't come from a tin. But if all goes well, I'll be home for Christmas." He didn't make it home that year. Most didn't. But hope was powerful. Sometimes it was all they had. Some of the most emotional letters of World War II were written to sweethearts back home. A young soldier named Michael wrote to his fiancée, "When I get back, I'm going to marry you on the very first Sunday. I don't care if it rains. I don't care if your dress isn't finished. I just want you there." He wrote that letter 2 days before D-Day. Another soldier wrote, "I keep your picture in my helmet. When things get bad, I look at it for strength." Love didn't stop the war, but for many soldiers, love kept them going. Every soldier's letter was censored if they mentioned location, troop movement, upcoming operations, casualties. The military simply crossed it out or didn't send it at all. Some letters came home with big black lines covering half the page. One soldier joked, "Mom, if you see missing words, don't worry. I didn't forget how to spell. Someone else did the erasing." But behind the jokes was a truth. Soldiers often faced things they couldn't talk about: fear, confusion, loss, moments they hoped their families would never see. Some letters were written just minutes after the fighting stopped. A soldier in Normandy wrote, "I can still hear the tanks even though they're gone. The ground shakes inside me. But I'm alive, Mom. I'm alive." Another wrote during the Battle of the Bulge, "The snow is deep. The cold is worse. My hands hurt so much I can barely write. But don't think for a second that I'm giving up." These letters show something powerful. Even in the darkest moments, they still reached for a pen because writing home made them feel human again. Soldiers almost never described battle details, but they did write about people. A soldier named Thomas Riley wrote, "We lost a good man today. I can't say who, but he was brave. We all miss him." Just one simple sentence, but it carried a whole world of pain. Some soldiers blamed themselves. Some felt helpless. Some stayed silent for days before finding the strength to write again. And yet, letters kept coming, because writing helped them heal, even when the wounds weren't physical. You might think soldiers missed comfort, or safety, or food, but most letters said the same thing. They missed normal life. One soldier wrote, "I miss Saturday mornings. I miss walking barefoot on the porch. I miss hearing my sister slam her bedroom door. Funny what you miss when it's gone. Another wrote, if I could have one thing, just one, it would be a quiet breakfast with my family. War made small things feel priceless. Among thousands of letters, one story stands out. A young soldier named Henry was having one of the worst nights of the war. He was cold, exhausted, and terrified. He felt like giving up. But then he reached into his pocket and found a letter from his mother. He hadn't opened it yet. It said, no matter where you are, no matter what happens, remember this. You are loved more than you know. Come home. We're waiting. Henry later said, that letter kept me alive. I read it 3 times in the snow, and I knew I had to hold on. Sometimes, words can save a life. Not every letter made it home. Some were found in pockets, in helmets, in abandoned foxholes. Never finished. One unfinished letter said, tell Dad I'm trying. And that was it. These fragments remind us that behind every statistic, behind every battle, there were real people trying their best to stay connected to the ones they loved. When the war finally began to end, the tone of letters changed. A soldier in France wrote, the guns are quieter now. The nights feel different. I think this might be over soon. Another wrote, save me a seat on the porch. I'm coming home. And finally, one young man wrote to his wife, when you read this, I might already be on the boat. If so, look for me at the station. I'll be the one running. Some reunions were joyful, some heartbreaking, but every returning soldier carried the weight of the letters they wrote and the ones they received. Today, thousands of letters are preserved in museums, archives, and family basements. When you read them, you realize something powerful. They weren't writing about war. They were writing about life, about love, about fear, about hope, about surviving, about coming home. These letters connect us to the human side of history, the side that textbooks can't show. They remind us that behind every uniform was a beating heart. Someone's son, someone's brother, someone's father, someone who didn't know if they would ever see home again. And yet, they wrote. They wrote to stay human, to stay hopeful, to stay alive. Because sometimes, in the middle of the darkest moments in history, a simple letter was the strongest light a soldier had.